Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Vinay Maheshwari, who is the founder at Health Factory, which is a consumer brand for healthy food products. Hi, Vinay. Welcome to ELI.
Hi, Priya. Pleasure to be here. I'm excited for what's to come.
I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
So, hey, everyone. Hi, I'm Vinay Maheshwari, founder at the Health Factory. Typically started my journey around 4.5, 5 years ago. Decided to build a consumer first, a brand. That's a little bit on how the or when the journey actually started.
Mhm.
And just to give you a quick intro of what the Health Factory actually is,
Sure.
the Health Factory is an intersection between consumer lifestyle, consumer behavior, and food options, right? So, with that metric, where we're trying to solve a very large problem that consumers are facing today, right?
Mhm.
The other thing at the Health Factory, what we believe is the staples story. What we're building is a everyday consumer product without habit
Mhm.
transformation. Where we're doing high frequency of touch points into a single household. So essentially, what we're building is a lifestyle brand with an FMCG product with a staples background to it,
Mhm.
where consumers eat the product on a repeat basis. So that's a little bit about me, about the Health Factory.
Got you. So, curious to know what are the different products that you offer and what problem is it solving for your end customer? What is the value proposition?
So I'd like to answer your second question first, which is what's the real problem that what the Health Factory is trying to solve.
Yeah.
What we're realizing is, right, everyday staple food is no longer very healthy, right? For example, as something as simple as bread,
Hmm.
right? The second problem that we're seeing is the brands that are now getting into the market are reinventing the wheel, where they're trying to come up with different formats, right? Like, for example, brands are promoting cereals, brands are promoting bars, brands are promoting protein shakes. No
Mm.
doubt they're really healthy, they're really very nice. They do get you the right kind of nutrition, required to sustain your everyday functioning.
Right.
However, the dollars behind educating the consumer, right, is a lot
Mm.
for him to actually change his behavior, right? Because you and I are very uh, selective about the food groups that we eat, right? So, uh, to make you switch from a food category, which is your comfort zone, and to ask you to eat something else, is a
Mm.
lot of change in behavioral behavior of a consumer,
Right.
right? So that is what I see that a lot of brands are trying to do. That no one is attacking the core essentials,
Hmm.
right? I see there's a very big gap there, right? Because your आपका basic घर का खाना needs to be attacked first, and then you can move towards the fancies,
Right.
right? That's the second problem that we see. The third problem that we see is even when the consumer does happen to make this switch, right, to
Hmm.
maybe a protein shake or maybe a bar or maybe cereals, how sustainable is that, right? He often questions, क्या इसका टेस्ट अच्छा है? Or he often questions saying, अच्छा मैंने एक महीने के लिए खा लिया ठीक है अब नेक्स्ट महीना मैं ब्रेक ले लेता हूँ, right?
Mm.
So where is the repeat happening? When we're talking about health, when we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about lifestyle, we're talking about repeat consistency, and that causes change,
Mm.
right? Overnight, you can't build something,
That's right.
even at a body level, right? So you need to consistently, continuously eat something correctly,
Mm.
form a routine out of it, and then you start seeing results. So that was a very big problem that we saw again, that even though brands are causing this consumer behavior for people to change food groups, is
Mm.
it very sustainable? That was the problem that we faced. To answer your first question, is because of this problem statement, we said, why don't we attack the food group that comes onto your plate first thing in the morning, right?
Mm.
And we chose bread as a category. We said that bread is something consumers eat on an everyday basis.
Correct.
However, today consumers are trying to stay away from bread, right? Because you're saying bread has empty calories, bread
Mm.
lacks nutrition, bread में protein तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं होता, right?
Right.
And very recently when we were pitching, we said आज आपको 2 slice bread खाने के पहले 4 बार सोचना पड़ता है, right? How do we tackle that at a fundamentally everyday level? So we saw that as a big gap, and we said, let's work towards coming up with a product. I partnered with a food technologist, from Holland, and together with Mohit, who's also a co-founder at the Health Factory, the three of us came up with the country's first high protein bread.
Mm,
What is this high protein bread? It's bread with 48 grams of protein, where a slice of bread equals to 1.6 egg whites worth of protein. It's 100% vegetarian. It is lower in carbs versus other breads. It's low fat, low sugar, no cholesterol, trans fat free, low sodium, other claims of the product. So it's very holistic in nature. And also, all the ingredients that we source, or the kind of formulation that is going through, is fully international and global. So it comes with a lot of global expertise,
mm,
and we have a lot of strength even in our ingredient sourcing.
mm.
So we're a brand that is actually showing performance with bread. Who knew bread could actually solve for problems? I thought
Yeah,
bread was only giving problems.
right.
So that was a very big market gap that we saw, and we came up with the country's first protein bread.
Okay. So for now, bread is the only product that we have in portfolio. Any future plans about new products around the problem statement that you mentioned?
So, Priya, to be very honest, right, as a firm a believer and as a business running this business for like around 4 odd years, what I've realized is focus is critical, right? We're talking about a 2 to 2.2 billion dollar category.
Mm,
Yeah. In a 2.2 to 2.2 billion dollar category, which is the bread market, if we
mm,
can't cause a dent in it,
right.
I don't see why the health factory should look at more food groups or look at more food categories or look at more products.
Right.
What I fail to understand is a lot of brands, right? Today, where I see कि आज एक SKU बनाया, कल एक और SKU बनाया, फिर एक और SKU बनाया, फिर across the
Mm,
country spread किया. But my question is, where's the depth,
right.
right? What we like to do is stick to one product. We take 700 to 800 trials, and actual 800 R&D trials before launching one product, which takes
Mm,
us about a good learning curve of 1 year, anywhere between 8 months to a year, to be honest. Yeah, and then we launch one product, right? With this one product, we like to cause depth. We like to cause disruption. We like to cause an impact. Versus saying ये बना लिया एक और चीज बना लेते, right? With the food science expertise that we have, it's very easy. I wouldn't say very easy, but it's fairly easier for us to develop new food categories. But as a brand, honestly, a lot of my inspiration even comes from this brand called Nutella, right? Single
mm,
product,
mm,
one product sold so beautifully, right? Everywhere you say chocolate spread, the first thing that comes to my mind is Nutella,
mm,
right? They've caused that distribution, they've caused the depth, they've won the minds of people, and that's the kind of positioning and depth that they've caused. So I believe that there's no need for us to drive new categories till
mm.
we actually build and cause an impact in the one we are in.
Got you. Speaking of learning curve, you said you did 800 R&D trials and all before launching this product. So, can you tell us about, how did you fund your R&D and trials, and how did you crack when you had the product ready? How did you crack the market? What was the process involved? Like, did you go to some tailors and try to sell your bread? I'm just hypothetically giving examples.
Sure,
Or did
sure,
you
sure.
partner with a supermarket, or was there any food mailer where you tried to circulate the samples? How was it?
So Priya, to be very honest, it's a great story. The reason why bread actually started coming and the idea actually came in, right, is while I spoke about the problem statement that, just some time ago, the real problem was I love bread.
Mm-hmm.
I love bread.
Okay.
And I needed my 6 slices of bread every morning. And that was my staple. I
Okay.
couldn't not eat bread. My parents are from Rajasthan. They were every day saying the same thing, हर रोज bread क्या लगा रखा है, रोटी सब्जी खा के जा.
Mm,
And one fine day before I'm leaving for work, uh, there's no bread at home. And on being asked why is there no bread, they said, आज से bread घर पे नहीं आएगा, right? And that was the real spark to the journey. Uh, Now, when this happened, it wasn't that we had enough dollars to go and do market research. It wasn't that. we had enough expertise to even set up manufacturing. It was just an idea that struck where I started manifesting that if I am not allowed to eat bread, which is something that I love,
mm,
and I have to eat lunch for breakfast, which I'm not going to do, how do I manifest a product and get this life? Right? So I used to put a box on the same desk where I'm sitting at right now and while I'm having a chat with you, right? It's just taking me
mm,
back into the back in time also. I used to put a product on this very table. And it used to be a nice square looking box which I cut out of cardboard, and I used to just put it there and I'd say, "एक दिन इसमें bread भरेंगे."
mm,
And I used to just write my claims on it. That
okay,
इसमें इतना प्रोटीन होना चाहिए, इसमें ये values होना चाहिए, ये ऐसा ऐसा होना चाहिए. So the to answer your question, कुछ market research नहीं किया. Uh, we found a very fine problem statement which we said is scalable.
mm,
We then said that let's not waste time. Let's get into execution. And the idea is you keep being persistent at it and you dream about a vision and you manifest something with the right attitude. I think it starts coming to life. So when we first put the factory up together, uh, and I still remember the first day we made 11 breads, and Mohit and I were at the factory and we both clapped saying, "Wow, 11 bread banaya aaj." That was our first lot, right? In a 1400 square feet facility, we made 11 breads. Both of us are like very excited. We finished baking at around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. How we typically started to answer your question of how did you go to market
mm,
is what we said is एक काम करते हैं, ये 11 friends and family को दे के आते हैं, right? We gave it to our friends and family. They said, Ariva, the product's nice. Where can we buy it again? We did another round of sampling. We did around 400, 500 samples.
mhm,
Uh, and what we started seeing is consumers started asking, ये कहाँ मिलेगा? ये कैसे मिलेगा? We didn't actually build product pipeline sales and then put the factory. We just said, factory लगाओ, काम करो, देखेंगे रास्ते में क्या होता है. Right?
mm,
The attitude was there. And we were both very young. So the passion and that zeal was there, saying, let's go and crack it. Anyway, no one is doing this. So we went and we started doing this friends and family sampling, only to realize a lot of people started asking for this bread.
mm,
When a lot of people started asking for this bread, suddenly we started with the subscription model, where we started delivering fresh to the house between 6 to 9 in the morning. The subscription model was back in the day very time bound, right? So a lot of customers then came and started asking, retail mein milta hai kya?
mm,
Now, again, like zero experience, right? Building ground up, first gen entrepreneur. So no idea what is retail, what is the language to be spoken at retail, right?
mm,
But what we started seeing is we started seeing in the first 2, 3 months on our email IDs. Who are you guys? Where are you available? We want to put you in our retail store. सर आप हमको ब्रेड भेजेंगे क्या? अब हमारा कस्टमर आके पूछ रहा है प्रोटीन ब्रेड चाहिए. हमने उनसे आपका नंबर लिया है. Right? So as a result of which we started gaining confidence that the consumer is on the lookout for this.
mm,
Retailers started calling us and found merit in the product and the efforts that we were putting in. And that gave way to the retail story.
mm,
Soon we realized that e-com was the next big thing. Uh, and e-com and quick com, then we aggressively started building. So we started supplying to your Swiggy, Instamart, Zeptos, uh, a Big Basket, Milk Basket. We're starting GeoMart, Dunzo, and the likes. So
mm.
that's how the sales actually started. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, s- you spoke about the category. You said it's a $2 billion dollar category. And considering India only, I would say there are at least 1,000 bread brands, and every district has actually a new bread brand. And this is a product which has to be locally sourced, cannot be transported from one state to another because it will get spoiled. So I understand the 0 to 1 journey, but how are you planning, or how have you gone the 1 to 10 or 10 to 100? The scale part, how did you solve it, or how are you solving it right now?
So, like you correctly said, right? It has to be locally manufactured. What we've successfully done is we work on a pre-mix model, which we supply to our contract manufacturers. We own our facility in Bombay. However, with other cities, we're scaling up really fast because we're identifying top of the line. facilities with great infrastructure, great people working out there, maintaining all QA and QC points in check.
Mhm.
And with that, we're using our premixes to get the finished product out, and we're scaling from one city to the other. Currently, we started Bangalore as a chapter as well. We're soon starting Hyderabad, Chennai, and Delhi as well.
Mhm.
So, like you said, right? How are we scaling? That's how we're scaling. Like you correctly mentioned, there are so many brands who hyper locally exist and are strong in their regions. However, the kind of innovation that we bring to the table, the kind of quality and Priya, I'd love to send some samples to you. Wow, it is phenomenal. Uh, with that kind of confidence, right? When we build this market and we actually go inside the stores and stand and sell, I personally go and stand inside the store and I go and sell, right? Because I like to talk to the customer. क्या बोल क्या रहा है वो, right? How do we get that data, put that back into the system and start building sales? And that's how we're scaling up. From a sales standpoint, from a manufacturing standpoint, we're contract manufacturing. From a uniqueness standpoint, we have cutting edge formulation.
Got you. Uh, would love to know a little bit about the company building journey. How did you, you already told us about the bread making process, but building a company, hiring people, creating a team, raising funds. How did you, crack these challenges?
Uh, if you ask me at a very subtle level, I'd answer this in two parts. At a very subtle level, at a very subconscious level, as a person, I'm a go-getter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the the idea is I don't stop. The idea is the first three people in the organization, which is Joss, Mohit, and I, have the mentality of not understanding what no means. We're a little not very tuned towards what no actually means. I'm like, I find it even hard to process and put it out there. Uh, the idea here is we just started, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this journey, when we started, we were bootstrapped. We came across a lot of challenges. We raised our friends and family around who were very supportive and helped us with the initial seed capital to, set the factory up and get the ball rolling. Post which it was just that perseverance and attitude towards let's build something large. Let's build something that causes a change. That kind of an attitude that really helped us. From a team building standpoint, I think that's always a challenge. Uh, at the company I was working before, uh, uh, I was told by the head of HR there that Vinay, your team is only as weak as the weakest person in your team.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you're surrounded by the best people. So the idea has always been towards getting the best people.
Mm-hmm.
From a hiring standpoint, at the health factory, we don't hire primarily just skill set. We're 60% hiring basis attitude and 40% hiring basis skill set. Because in a vision so large, which is to become the breadwala of the country, and living the tagline of bread badlo aadat nahi, uh, I need the right kind of audience around me. I need the hard work that will come in. I will need the attitude to build. Uh, and that's how even a hiring standpoint happens. From a fundraising standpoint, I think the metric towards fundraising is demonstrating efficiencies, demonstrating growth, which we've successfully managed to do. Also, what a lot of uh, investors like to see is focus, right? So we're very, very focused uh, as a business, as a team, to work within that framework. Of course, do a lot of innovation within the framework, but not try to do something very off, right? So which is why, like you answered, Vinay, or kya product hai? What else do you want to do? I said nothing, right? I want to stick to this. From a category standpoint, we know where we are. From a channel distribution standpoint, we know our focus channels. Within these channels, we look at innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that doing it continuously resulted in growth, as a result of which even successfully we raised capital.
What would you say is the meaning of entrepreneurship for you? How would you define the term entrepreneur, or who would you consider as someone who is entrepreneurial?
So I genuinely say someone who has the ability to fail fast, someone who has the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Because that's a very fast, it needs to be at a very fast pace to learn, then unlearn, and then suddenly relearn, and then get that back into the system. Flexibility.
Hmm.
Uh, and I'd say someone who is not afraid of failure, right? I think failure could be a great, great tool, towards if used correctly.
Hmm.
Of course, just I hope I've not been taken incorrectly, but failure, if used correctly, can act as an accelerator,
Hmm.
right? Because if you can fail and learn from that and grow, I think it's phenomenal because you don't make the same mistake again and you come back so much more confident, right?
Hmm.
And someone who's consistent and has like is perceived is like very committed towards building something, because often in this journey, right, of being an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
a lot of people come and tell you that ye nahi chalega, or why don't you try that, or why don't you do this, right? But can you compartmentalize and live your dream very, very large, and still, in spite of the distractions that are coming in, uh, focus and, get the product out, get your team out, get the
Hmm.
channels right, and build from there. I mean, very honestly, it's taken a beating in my personal life. I don't have a personal life anymore, because I'm committed to this. It's not something that I'd encourage. Of course, there needs to be a work-life balance. But if you gotta like build that large vision and build that dream and make that come true,
Hmm.
I think a lot of compromises need to be made. A lot of hard work needs to come in. And of course, with hard work needs to be smart work. So I think to me, that is an entrepreneur who is uh, able to fail, able has a good risk appetite, uh, is very, very committed towards what he's doing,
Hmm.
uh, and nothing stops him, right? Just that whole attitude of I will do it, uh, just with that confidence that no matter what, this is going to happen, is what to me makes an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Got you. My final question, the time is almost up. You spoke about failures. So, can you tell us one of the most interesting failures that you went through as an entrepreneur?
I'd say I wouldn't call it primarily a failure, but I'd put it this way, that the grass is greener on the other side always, right? And
Hmm.
now that I've seen this kind of acceleration in growth where we've grown 5x in 5 months, yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, Now that I'm here, I think about what if I did this 2 years ago? Yeah. What if I could accelerate this 2 years ago? But like I said, right, the grass is always greener on the other side. I still hold no regrets, because I think the learning that came with those many years made me come to this stage where I could accelerate, without which I think that would be a missing piece. Uh, but yet, this is a battle that I fight with myself,
Hmm.
saying, what if you accelerated this 2 years ago? Yeah, but my real MBA, to be very honest, Priya, my real MBA, my real personal growth as an individual in terms of, understanding even who I am as a person came out of the health factory. So I think it's been an amazing experience.
Got you. Awesome. So, on this note, we are at the end of the session. Thanks for your time, Vinay. And I would say my best wishes for Health Factory.
Thank you, Priya. It was lovely speaking to you.